Here we'll talk about genre analysis and various forms of writing. By that we actually mean that how various genres involve various kinds of or forms of writing, and by understanding those forms of writing we can actually conduct an analysis of a genre. If those particular forms of writing are embedded in a text, that would constitute that particular genre. So these forms of writing may be attributed to a certain genre. So in simple terms, we can say that every genre may have its own language, types of language, or types of the uses of language or forms of writing. Some recent studies in this regard have studied the discourses about research articles, master's and doctoral thesis, and then application and job promotion letters, legislative documents, graduate seminar lectures, and students text in various courses, and they found out what kind of particular characteristics these forms of writing have, and do these different genres have their own language or not. And one model which has been created in relation to the discourses or genres about academic writing is one which was proposed by uh, Feek and Swales in 2011, and it is called CARS. That means Create a Research Space Framework. So this can be used to analyze the various kinds of genres used in academic writing. Then this framework describes the typical discourse structure of the introduction section of research. And what does this include? It is generally believed, and this framework actually authenticates it, that an introduction section might open up the issue to the reader. It would establish and show how important a research is which is being conducted, and will show the gap which previous researchers failed to fill in, and this research would fill in. An introduction is ideally centered around this kind of gap, and this is what we see that an academic writing assignment should or would include. And how the study being described would fill the gap would also talk about the methods to be adopted, or the ways or theoretical pinnings which might help the reader or the researcher to continue with filling that gap. Then the other analysis in similar analysis have shown that how micro genres or rhetorical types such as arguments and descriptions come together in the writing of academic genres. So there could be many other micro genres or rhetorical devices which may be used in this kind of writing. Sometimes some emphatic word sentences are used to emphasize on a certain academic problem even. Language and academic writing, there could be some kind of nature of genre specific language. In this regard, Hutchinson and Waters are of the view that there could be a technical language or a genre, and there could be a genre specific language. So technical or specialized language should be applied instead of going for genre specific language. Different kinds of texts are complex in different ways according to Biber, so that many earlier conclusions that have been reached about specific purpose of a language reflect our incomplete understanding of the linguistic characteristics of discourse complexity. What we mean by that is that we need to understand the complexity of a typical kind of discourse, and we should not try to impose too much restrictions on that discourse, though we are bound by the genre specificity, but still we need to see that what kind of innovations may be or would be or might have been brought into that kind of genre. In this view, there clearly are language differences between genres. Different genres have their own forms of writing or specific forms of specific interventions or innovations in the same form of writing. However, can only be revealed through the examination of actual text instead of working on our intuitions about a certain genre, we need to analyze particular text in a particular discourse. Academic writing is also concerned with meta discourse. Meta discourse is a term which was first coined by Zelling Harris, and it includes the ways in which a writer or speaker tries to guide his audience or reader to their perception of the text. So he actually engages with the audience in order to produce a certain impact on them. Meta discourse includes interactive rhetorical features, and it which reflect, in fact or indirectly, writers' own awareness of the audience, their interest and expectations, as well as interactional rhetorical features which may be employed to engage with the audience. Interactive meta discourse resources further guide the reader to understand the ways of expressing relations between clauses, the stages of the text, information that is available in various parts of the text, and how that information is linked with each other, and in what way reader can have a comprehensive understanding of that information. Moreover, it also informs us the ways in which writers express their stance towards what they are saying, their own opinion, strong point, as well as the ways they engage with their audience, how they press upon or motivate their audience to reach the conclusion the authors or writers want their audience to reach. Two terms are important to be understood in this sphere. One is stance. Stance describes the ways in which writers present themselves and convey their own judgments, opinions, commitments, comments, or about themselves or other people's work. And then in doing so, some authors or speakers may intrude to stamp their personal authority straight away, or they step back and disguise their involvement and show their opinions indirectly. It may be open or it may be in a secret manner. Engagement is a strategy through which an author engages his reader or speaker into his discourse, and by doing so, he acknowledges and recognizes the presence of his or her readers. And when he engages his or her reader through certain devices, rhetorical devices, forms of addresses, or ways of arguments, he actually guides his or her readers towards certain interpretations. So, through stance and engagement, a reader can actually an author or discourse maker can convey his ideas to his audience in a forceful manner.